let's talk a little bit about why it works. You've all heard about the HA. You've heard hyaluronic acid and the collagen. Back in the States, it's like a table word. You use it all the time in the kitchen. We're always talking about that. But I wanted to explain, well, when pets age, their HA and collagen decrease. It's the same thing in people. The same thing in people. So if you put a needle in your knee and you draw out the fluid, that's joint fluid. That joint fluid is rich in HA. And what happens is that as the pet gets older, the quantity of HA in that joint fluid called synovial fluid starts to decrease. Well, in your joint, like in the knee, there's a capsule. In that capsule is the fluid. And so as the fluid decreases, well, what's the fluid doing? It's a cushion, and it's keeping the bone from hitting the other bone. So as it begins to decrease, the bones are coming together. When bone rubs against bone, there's an inflammatory reaction that occurs. So we need to maintain that lubrication in the joint. The PET blend will do that. Questions are asked to me, well, what age should I start my PET? I think 6 months, with all the pets that I have on this program, 6 months is a good time to start your PET on liquid BioCell. You don't need an injury. You don't have to have an injury to start. Yes, it would be great, but here's my belief. I think that if you maintain a certain level of HA and collagen in your joints, then you can actually help protect them from having an injury or having less of an injury should they injure themselves. But the results speak for themselves. The results are unbelievable. So I will have a patient who will come back who will say, you know, you gave this to me to buy for my dog's discomfort in their joints. And what I've gotten out of it is that the coat is so much better. Because of the collagen and the hyaluronic acid, the coat is more moisturized. If you have a better moisturized coat, you have better fur, you have better hair. It's not falling out, so they're shedding less. They're not as flaky. And the shine on the coat is unbelievable. If you have a black dog, you'll need sunglasses. Let me tell you about collagen and what it does. We know collagen works for ligaments. Ligaments and tendons. And what it does is it hydrates it. So when a ligament, understand this, and maybe you'd like to write it down because you hear about ligaments and tendons. A ligament connects bone to bone. The knee is all ligaments. Left side, right side, front and back, twisted, ACLs, PCLs, posterior, anterior. Those are ligaments. Those are not tendons. Tendon connects bone to muscle. So when you pull a ligament, you're in trouble. You pull a ligament, what does that mean? Well, you've stretched it, right? With the collagen and hyaluronic acid, you're keeping that in good health by keeping it hydrated. And if you hydrate an elastic, you ever see an old rubber band, right? And if it's not hydrated and you go to stretch it, it starts to snap, and then you have a rupture. The same thing, it's a good example of how you can explain what happens to a ligament when it's unhealthy. Of course, there are certain trauma and twists, etc. But so if you can keep it hydrated, when you're asked to, when the bone or when the ligament is asked to stretch, when that event is over, it will come back to its natural position. We want that, right? It's no longer pulled. So that's why I advocate taking the PET blend early on to maintain a certain level of health for the tendons and ligaments. It's working in other places. It works on smooth muscle, cardiac muscle, striated muscle. This will help your bladder help the pet's bladder stay healthy. Sorry. But you know what I say for pets works for people too, right? But the physiology is there, the anatomy is the same. It's just really, really healthy.